Hello and welcome to Hanamate. I am junk journaling and I love any type of embellishments and I fell in love with watercolors and kind of botanical theme. I love creating flowers and mushrooms and others. I will super quickly take you through the process. Hopefully somebody will be inspired. So I just grab any type of paper that will work with watercolors. It doesn't have to be specifically watercolor paper. However, I do prefer if the cardstock is thicker. And then I use watercolors in a usual way. I spray paint it first to make it wet, and then I make a bunch of blobs that look like flowers. Once it dries, I like to highlight everything with pen. Any type of pen will do. I think pencil does good job as well, but I prefer if it pops a little bit. So as you can see, I'm kind of just experimenting with different petals of flowers, right? There are so many things that you can create. As I mentioned, I do like flowers because it kind of gives me nice practice. Even now, I'm adding a little bit of purple and just playing with the almost the flow of the watercolors and how they dry. And you can add more water, you can add more elements. Anyhow, it's tons of fun. I find it incredibly relaxing. That said, I am not an artist. I never learned how to use watercolors or any paint properly, but I do think that experimenting and maybe watching few videos or reading in books how to properly work with watercolors or whatever media you're using is a good thing because we all like to improve, right, and evolve. I just want to let you know that when I am creating those pieces, I always have in my mind that I'm going to cut it out eventually, right? So I like right now I added the little leaves and I know that I will have to cut around them. I will show you. I just basically cut all the way around the piece and I leave a little tiny bit of white, like 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes I make it dark black, either with Sharpie or ink, so it pops out. So it has got nice, almost like 3D look. Also, if you use thicker paper, it will have the 3D look, right? So I don't want to bore you too much, but I do think that some of you may get inspired. There are tons of different things that can be done with watercolors. You can mix them together. You can use this very basic watercolor, I think it was from IKEA, or you can use watercolors in a tube and then you use a little palette, you mix it up, whatever shade you want, because there are watercolors, they really do have that potential to do incredible tricks when they are diluted, heavily diluted with water. You can probably see that I'm sometimes adding more water to the piece itself. You can also play it with different shades, right? Like adding color right to the piece. And then I let it dry. I really do make sure it dries properly. And then I use a marker. You can use many different types of markers. I like the calligraphy markers as well. They kind of just add, I guess, kind of historical charm. I don't know how to tell you how I do this, but basically I try to create petals. If I go over the line of the watercolors, that's fine. If I leave a little bit of white, it's actually even better. It kind of pops nicely. And of course, I made those flowers before, so I kind of have idea what I'm doing. I do think even little tiny lines that are supposed to be almost like the folds in the petals add a lot. Lately, I started adding different dots, either black or white or gold, and they also kind of give it a little kind of pop. They make the oh, I can say piece of art little more playful. So by the way, there are some people who use marker first and then they add watercolors, but you should most likely use something that will not run in water. You can also use crayons or Sharpie or a very thick pencil, not thick, soft pencil, right? Just kind of try to experiment, and that's the best part about the whole process. Or that's why I love junk journals because I am definitely picking up different techniques and methods and trying to create pieces with them that eventually will end up in junk journals, right? I am not an artist that's going to create whatever watercolor painting and sell it for $1,000. I will always want to just experiment and have fun and use the pieces in my watercolor, in my junk journals. My goal with, so now I'm grabbing scissors and I'm cutting all the way around. I have very good quality surgical scissors. They work fantastic for me. If you can also try small manicure scissors. They do work well, but my fingers are too chubby to actually fit. And the best choice actually is to use a little X-Acto knife, very sharp X-Acto knife, and self-healing mat. So do you see the flower? I am very happy. They are beautiful. I think they really add so much to the pages. And then of course I can also play with leaves, because leaves add, this is super simple leaf. Do you see that, how simple it is? But once you put it in junk journal on any pages, or if you are making your own cards, it adds so much charm. And I think many people who actually create handmade, when they see it, they will have, I want to say respect, I mean admiration. They would really appreciate the handmade effort that went into it, that it was truly created by hand, with love, with the kind of interest to be creative. Again, you can see I'm not following exactly the edge of the watercolors. I go a little bit over. I do like the look when I cut it out and it pops out. I think it's also because I am leaving lots of white around the edges, right? So then if you have a little white in, it looks nice. People who do watercolors and are skilled, they actually leave in the painting itself pieces of white, which basically add almost like a glare from a sun, right? So I would do like whatever 5 strokes per leaf, but one of them I will miss and keep it white on that part. So I just really wanted to briefly show you what's possible. I think I love the part that junk journaling can be done very frugally, and it's almost like there are no excuses not to do it. And here are mushrooms. I love, love, love mushrooms. I think they are super cute. They are very nice. They are kind of the whimsical fairy gnome forest creatures theme. Once again, I was just playing created mushrooms, and even now when I look at it myself, I'm very pleased with the shapes and with how the black pops out, right? So the goal is kind of to have nice pastely, watery base, and then when you add the black, it gives it that pop, the almost 3D look. But you see one of the mushrooms has got little dots, and that makes it very playful. On the right side here on this mushroom, did you like my art? There is white, so that was kind of my attempt to create a little bit of glare from a sun and shade on the other side. I think it worked out well. But once again, this is not really about the product itself or amazing junk journal pages, but about me practicing techniques, practicing watercolors in this example, drawing and painting and having good time. I am quite capable of watching whatever show or listening to the radio and radio, how old-fashioned of me, YouTube, and just submerge myself in the process and also listening to whatever I'm listening. So if you like my ideas, I make tons of videos on junk journals. You can follow me on this channel or Facebook or Instagram. Thanks for watching, Hamid.